is Bob Rogers from ULD Care, and I'm delighted today to be recording a video interview with Simon Leung from Cathay Pacific. Simon's official job title is quite lengthy. He is Cargo Standards Policy and Operation Support Manager, and part of his responsibilities includes ULD operations, and he's been involved in ULD for around 15 years now. And of course, it goes without saying, as a very large cargo and also passenger airline, Cathay Pacific has a lot of ULD in their operation. They move a great deal of cargo. And so they're probably at the forefront in having to deal with the operational issues that confront the industry. So a few years ago, and I keep a close contact with Cathay Pacific as I happen to also live in Hong Kong, I started a conversation with them around the whole issue of charging demurrage for late return of ULD equipment from freight forwarders. And I'm delighted to say that over the subsequent years, we've kept in close contact, and Cathay Pacific has gone ahead and built their own platform and launched it, and are now in the process of using it. And so the purpose of this interview is to hopefully be able to hear from let's say the horse's mouth, Cathay Pacific, Simon in particular, how this has come to pass and how well it's worked. So Simon, maybe I can lead off with my first question. First of all, thank you very much for participating in this process. I think it will be of considerable value to the industry. So my first question is, could you give a short briefing of the size and scope of the Cathay Pacific ULD operation, and at the same time provide our audience with some insights as to why Cathay felt it was necessary to invest considerable human resources and financial resources in tackling this problem head on?
Okay, so thank you for inviting me for the interviews. And then during the this so-called COVID period, so we have around 20,000 ULD circulated in our levels. That means that we have 20,000 ULDs. We have to manage this one. In which, by that time, that we have all around 7% that were being held by various parties, classified as overdue. That is that we released it to the agents, mainly is the cargo agents. We released to the agent, and then, but the agent can unlikely to return the ULD on time to us. According to the TAC rules requirement, this is previously we are talking about 5 days, the marriage period. But in that 7% of ULD is not able to return to us the due on time, the due various reasons. So for us, we do have some ULD transferred to the interline, but the interline, the overdue is never a big problem to us because we can get use of some common platform to do the clearance, just like the IATA clearance house or IULDDG, to do the demurrage cost transfer. And so therefore the interline overdue is not a big problem, but the real problem to us is the agents. So of course, because of this, our focus on the ULD outside movement, the airport, the restricted area, and our customers. So that's why we trying to create a so-called cafe demurrage program, and then we introduce and then try to give a push to the agents to return our ULD to us on time. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's very clear. I mean, that I can see where you were coming from. So you then decided to set up a program which, if I understand correctly, included using blockchain technology, which of course is very interesting. So, but could you give me some idea of what was involved in setting up your system to administer this program, and how did it work out? And is there anything you think you would have done differently with the benefit of hindsight?
I think that the most important thing is that we have to convince the trade, the industry, that we have to provide them tools to manage the ULDs, the inventory, with the accurate and easy to use. I think that this is the key. Without this issue, then most of the agents will argue, hey, I don't have this ULD on hand, I don't have that on hand. Always arguing is the low use. It's wasting the time trying to figure out which ULD you are holding for. Yeah, but since we are working with our ULD suppliers, so we on a digital side, the ULD fleet. That means that we install chips in the ULD, and then by capturing the information over there, and then we can have all the instant information about the ULD, where are they, and then where does this ULD released to that agent or to which agents, then we can capture this information. So basically, with this information available, and then we store it with the blockchain data technology, then we keep all the information in the computer, then and we can have accurate information for the on-site information for the ULD, where are they, and then we base on this information to negotiate with to talk with our agents, or to chase them to return on time, and also if they are not able to return on time, then we can release we will charge them for the demurrage. Yeah.
Okay. So just for my understanding and our audience understanding, does the platform provide on-demand, online visibility to the freight forwarder? Can a freight forwarder in Los Angeles go online and see if how many PMCs they're up for? Does it work that way, or does that still have to be handled manually?
This is the ultimate goal that we want to let the agent have a look where is the ULD. But at this moment, we can only provide the information by our side.
Okay, so you basically monitor the system and then send them an email and say, hey, you've got 15 of our PMCs.
And we got some evidence, and when will the ULD release to use, and then when do you pick up the ULD, then we get the information and share the data with them. Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, in my opinion, collecting that information is a big start. If you've got that record, you're already well on the way. Okay. So, so perhaps we've almost started into so how would you consider, or what stage would you consider yourself to be at in this project? Are you halfway there yet? How far away are you from having it as good as it's going to get?
Yeah, currently we do have introduced this demurrage program in Hong Kong and in US as well. In Hong Kong, it's functioned very well because in Hong Kong, the business situation is quite, I would say, is quite mature. So basically, the agent will handle both incoming and outgoing shipments together. So that means that they collected ULD from the incoming shipment. They will use it for the outgoing shipments. Yeah, as soon as possible. So basically, the system, the situation in Hong Kong is not too bad. But however, in the other country, probably the agent, some of the agent is only dealing with the incoming shipments only.
Okay.
So they will hold their incoming ULDs for a certain period, and then after a certain amount, they will return to us. Then definitely by with this practice, they will exceed the demarriage program, demarriage period. So then, and we will charge them for the demarriage on this one.
Okay.
Yeah. And then another issue is that when we deal with the demarriage stage, demarriage. So I think the real situation, real challenge is that we cannot. There is a low common platform to doing the charges. Yeah, some of the agents, some of the U.S. agents, I would say they are using the PayPal, something like that. The other system, some of the one is using IATA clearing, some of the one is using ULD. So it's create a lot of complication to us on the administration side. So when you ask me where are we now at this stage, I would say that we are just a little bit far from, a little bit in the middle. Okay, I would say a little bit in the middle. It's not. It's still a long way to go to the end results. Yeah.
Thank you for that insight, Simon, because that sort of fits with my impression that the biggest. Yes, managing the location information and the transfer information, recording that is clearly the first step. But the administration, airlines are simply not set up these days to manage all the paperwork necessary, and so a big part of the solution has to be working through automated payment platforms and so on. So
yes,
I think that's absolutely critical. Absolutely critical.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think you partly answered this question in your previous response, because one of the things that we find particularly perplexing is that if we look across at the ocean shipping industry, who has somewhere in the order of 10 million shipping containers compared to the airlines roughly 1 million, the ocean shipping industry absolutely charges demurrage for everybody. There is no such thing as a free pass. The rates may change, the free days may change, but there is no kind of just, return it when you like. On the other hand, the air cargo industry has basically gone for basically a very relaxed approach. So when you started to introduce these charging, what kind of response or did you get from the freight forwarding communities? Was it an acceptance that this is necessary, or was it howls of protest, or where did it come from?
Fortunately, within the company, we work as a team. Our commercial team helped us to promote this idea to the agents, and then collect the feedback. Initially, we do receive some feedback from the commercial team saying that can we waive this demerit charge? But I'm talking to our commercial team. If we are doing that, then we will defeat the purpose of the demarriage. So that's why there's, with the help of the commercial peoples, then talk to the agents and to understand that this one. What is our aim to introduce this program? We are not trying to generate revenue from this demarriage. So in fact, we want our ULD back to our level within the agreed time. This is what the major purpose, major objective for this program. So basically, with the assistance from our commercial team to talk to the sales, to the agents. So there are not too much resistant voice from, I would say, resistant voice from agents. Yeah, that I received. Even though in the U.S. They do agree that this is their obligations to return the ULD to the carrier within the agreed time. Yeah.
Wow, that's music to my ears, Simon, because so often all the research we've done into this whole project indicates that most of the pushback against having these charges does come from the cargo sales folks who don't want to put any kind of penalty on their customers. But you know, I think it's fantastic that you've gotten this support from your commercial sales people, and I hope that can be an inspiration to other airlines around the world, because this is a global problem. This is not just for one airline. This is a problem that needs to be solved across the whole industry. Okay, so really, then my last question is, given that you've now had this in operation for well over 12 months, right? I think even maybe longer. What have you been able to measure? Any improvements in the flow of the equipment?
Measure for the flow of the equipment. In Hong Kong, I do see there is a successful story over there, and we see the great improvement. So if this is my, I don't have the figure on hand actually. This is my feeling is that I think more than 80% or 90% of the ULD are able to return back to the carriers, return back to us on time before the demurrage program in Hong Kong. Very, very good. But in US, the situation is a little bit, I would say a little bit worse than Hong Kong. That means that they have only 80% to 85% that they are able to return on time to the carrier. This is because in most of the case, when the ULD arrive in the ULD outstations, they will truck to somewhere off stations. So they need some time to truck back to the truck hub, so or to other stations. So that's why this is caused another difficulty for us to trace for the ULDs, and also not for us, for the agents to trace the ULD back to the carriers.
Yeah, okay. So it's good to hear that you are seeing some measurable improvements, or at least some significant improvements since you've introduced this program. So it sounds like it's been a worthwhile initiative.
Yes. So basically, we do have a plan to introduce this to our entire networks.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
But we're introduced by this year or next year is subject to situation, because currently with the COVID situations, some of the city may be locked down, and a lot of activity may be affected. So we have to think about this one. Yeah.
Yeah, and I completely agree. I mean, in all our planning for doing this on an industry-wide basis, we recognise, and in fact, when we talk to the shipping companies, we also find, for instance, in some of the ports in Africa, where there are well-known delays in customs, they will always give some extra free days to the consignees, so to take into account. There is no one charge or one free days that fits all. There's got to be the ability to be flexible. Nobody's trying to beat the forwarders to death, but on the other hand, without any kind of system, this becomes a never-ending problem. So yeah, Simon, really, thank you very, very much for sharing this with us. It's that's really great to hear from, shall we say, the horse's mouth, from an organization that has actually taken this on, and taken it on, from what I hear, very effectively. Yeah, I think this will be of great value to the rest of the industry. Is there anything you'd like to sort of say as perhaps to the rest of the industry? Would you recommend that they go down this route?
Yeah, I do believe that all the carriers are very concerned about the inventory of the ULD. Without ULD, we cannot make the business.
Yeah.
So the ULD is critical to us. And then how can we get work together with our customer to ensure the ULD is keep on moving. It's not stuck in somewhere. This is the crucial point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's work together to keep the ULD moving instead of stuck in somewhere. This is not what we want. Yeah.
Simon, I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you very, very much for taking these few minutes to share your experience with us. I think it will be a great value to the industry as a whole. Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.